Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today, I had an awesome conversation with Mr. Kent Clothier, who owns and founded the REWW site, which is Real Estate Worldwide. It's an awesome. I can't say enough. It's interesting because I took a course about a year ago on wholesaling, and I learned a lot. And then what I learned was from Kent that I was doing it all wrong. I actually took a course about a month and a half ago with Kent and his people, and it's the next level. It really is. Personally, you'll hear in the episode. I just don't have the time to commit to it right now. Although I think what I'm going to do is find somebody that I can train in, because it's such a big opportunity. And just from me doing it wrong, we've already listed 2 properties, and we've got about a half a dozen things in the pipeline just from doing it the wrong way for 4 months. So if that tells you anything. Anyway, Kent's a great guy. This was an awesome episode. We talked about mindset. Honestly, it's most of the time really, really great. He's a good guy. His training's legit, and you should definitely check him out. So you can check out Kent, listen to this, and then go check him out. His website's in the show notes. Don't forget my new mastery class is coming out. It's called Expired School for Realtors. It's one of the courses we're about to release. So expired.schoolforrealtors.com to go check that out and get yourself signed up. We're giving some specials right now for people that sign up. We're going to get to do some live lead generation with me and a few other people, and it's awesome. We'd love to partner with you on that. So go to expired.schoolforrealtors.com, and then also if you're going to hit the expireds and the for sale by owners, which we're going to talk about as well, then you want to have some type of a service that's going to give you the data. So you're going to want to check out Land Voice and Vulcan 7. Decide which one works best for you. You can go to landvoice.com/path to mastery or vulcan7.com/path to mastery. And my friends, David's free book, another opportunity. Go get yourself a free audio book on Audible. And don't forget, I want to be friends on Facebook. So if you're not in our Facebook group yet, just go to Facebook and search Path to Mastery Group and request access. We'll get you in so we can connect, and I can keep you up to date on everything happening. All right, my friends. Well, again, I appreciate you listening to my podcast. I appreciate you spending time here, and I really you're going to get a ton out of Kent. You're going to get a ton. So enjoy. Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today we're with Mr. Kent Clothier. Kent, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, brother. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you. And you, I don't know, did you found the company, REWW?
I did. Yep, I did found it. Yep.
And I know I recently went through one of your, I don't know if you even knew this or not, but I went through your online training, which was fantastic. I didn't know that, but that's great to hear. I love it. Yeah, well, and honestly, that's why I decided to reach out to you. You just brought a lot of value to us. You brought a lot of practical application and strategy, and I got a lot from it. And we're going to talk more about that as well. But I just want to say thank you, man. Thanks for spending the time to do this and come on the show.
Of course, man. It's my pleasure, dude. Anything I can do to help you.
Tell us, how did you get into investing? And well, first off, what's REWW? And then the next question is, how did you get into investing?
REWW is Real Estate Worldwide. I started the company back in 2006, along with my investing career, which started basically in 2003. My story is I got into investing kind of out of a necessity, quite frankly. I'd been in another business for a very long time. From the time I was 17 till the time I was 30, I built an arbitrage business, if you will, where I was buying and selling truckloads of groceries and became wildly successful at it, beyond anything I could have ever imagined, that's for sure. And ended up being a part of a team that helped build the 7th largest privately held company in the state of Florida, doing almost $2 billion a year from this little thing we started. And so back in around 2000, I had a run-in with my partners and ended up leaving that company, kind of getting run out, if I'm being very candid about it. And so at 30 years old, I found myself trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do. I took a stab at going out and trying another arbitrage business, basically creating a competitor of my previous company. And that did not work out very well for me. After about lots of lawsuits and lots of back and forth and lots of legal fees, after about 2 years, I got run out of that entire industry and was just like, I'm done. And ultimately landed in a place to where I'd lost everything, had lost quite literally every dollar I'd ever earned, and all the relationships, all the, currency, social currency that I'd built up over the years inside of business was all gone. And because I was no longer even in that industry. And so found myself at a place where I, much like a lot of other people, was watching a late night infomercial, a guy talking about, hey, come down, I'll teach you how to flip houses with no money. And I was just broke enough and just desperate enough to go do it. And so I went down in West Palm Beach, Florida at Embassy Suites, watched a guy get up there and talk about how to control properties without really buying them, effectively wholesaling. I'd never even heard of it. But like I said, based on my previous experience, what I had just done for a long time in the arbitrage business, which is effectively the same kind of thing. I'm buying and selling a truckload of groceries and I own it less than 24 hours. It was highly intriguing to me. And so before you knew it, I got into the business, educated myself, made an investment in a course. And then as I got more successful, then some coaching and mentoring and got really good at it. And before you knew it, I was flipping hundreds of properties a year, and was a great money maker and hustler, if you will, right? I knew exactly that I would never be broke again. I know exactly how to go make money. The big challenge was it wasn't a business, right? The business was me. And so I got really motivated after about 3 years in the business to really try to figure out ways to automate it and systematize it and really put processes in place. And then, the rest is kind of history. Turned it into a really big company. We still flip 800 to 900 properties a year today. My family does, based out of Memphis, Tennessee and Dallas, Texas. I have since gone off and really followed my passion. I'm not really hardly involved in the real estate investing side at all, except from a strategic standpoint. I'm very, very passionate about helping other people achieve the exact same results. And so I went out and started Real Estate Worldwide, and now we've helped educate better part of almost 60,000 people over the years. Have some of them, best processes and systems and automation tools, et cetera, out there. And, you've experienced it from a training standpoint. I'm really, really proud of what we do, right? Got an amazing mastermind called the Boardroom Mastermind, which kind of gets all of the big players in the industry together several times a year to really share common knowledge, or uncommon knowledge is probably a better way to say it. And so, it's been a hell of a journey, but that's how I got into investing.
Awesome, man. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, so it sounds like you've always been an entrepreneur, right? So entrepreneurs, I would say they have a risk level that sometimes is typically greater than most, right? What would you say, is that a reason why you were able to make that jump and be more successful? Or I guess a better question would be for all the people listening that maybe don't have that level of, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Well, I'll tell you, I understand what you're asking. Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you. I was raised by an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. And so as a kid, certainly as a teenager, being raised that way, it was brutal, right? We were, my dad had very, very high expectations of my brother and I, and whether it was in sports or whether it was in business or whether anything we did, we were expected to excel, period. And mediocrity was never going to be accepted at all. And so I think that although it was brutal during the time we were going through it, in the end proved to be an amazing asset as a young man and ultimately throughout my entire adult life. And certainly as an entrepreneur. I was never taught to go to college. I was never taught to go to work for somebody else. I was always taught to go and do what I needed to do to take care of myself. And so, to have that mentality from a very, very young age is an amazing, amazing blessing, right? Because my risk tolerance is astronomically higher than the average person trying to walk away from a corporate 9 to 5. I am 150% unemployable. There's not a chance that I'm not going to go for it every single day and try to figure out how to achieve amazing results. That comes quite naturally to me by the way I was raised, for sure. As I've gotten older and as I've been in, now in the education and training space for the last 14 years, and literally spoke in front of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, I can tell you I've come to appreciate that is not normal, and that is not the way normal people think. And so that's the reason why, inside of our trainings, I take a lot of time to get people's heads right, because I've just come to appreciate that if you don't have the right mental makeup for this, coming from the very beginning, kind of that foundation, that fortitude, that willingness to do whatever it takes, then you're just going to be an overeducated broke person. That's what's going to happen. You're going to know exactly what to do, but you're not going to be equipped to actually go do it because you have been trained to think a different way. I mean, entrepreneurs think differently. We don't. I'm not in the business of basically, well, by anybody else's measure, they would not think that I'm particularly cautious. Put it to you that way, and that's just not. I mean, I feel like I'm as cautious as I need to be. What entrepreneurs do, and this is, I think, a common misconception, right? Entrepreneurs, they absolutely have fear, but their fear is very different than the average person sitting out there, right? And so the average person that's sitting out there has a fear of failure, or that's at least the way they frame it. They have a fear of falling down. They have a fear of being judged. They have a fear of, all these things, right? That, oh my God, if I go out and take a risk and it doesn't work out, what am I going to do? All these things, right?
Yeah.
Which are natural. I get it. And none of those things are true with most really successful entrepreneurs. They don't think like that. It is exactly 180 degrees opposite. The fear is still very, very real. But the fear is, what if I don't? Right? What if I don't do this? What am I leaving on the table? Right? So they have a much bigger fear of regret than they ever do of failure. And I think that's a huge lesson for somebody who's trying to get into this space, is that the fear of regret has to be front and center, right? The time is now. It's on the screen right behind my, like you don't get any second shots at this. This is it. This is the whole thing, right? You're playing in a game, whether you realize it or not, every single day. And you have a choice. You can either play full out and go get everything out of life you want, or you don't. And it's that simple. It's not black and white.
I think, and I love that you said that. And I think from going through your training, the week and a half we did, one of the things that I noticed is you have systems that will reduce the fear, because there's so much calculation that goes into it, and research, and I honestly, the way I became aware of your company was I paid somebody about a year ago to teach me how to wholesale. And I went, I paid him a couple $1,000s. He spent a day with me and he showed me this and he showed me that. And, I learned some stuff. I'm not going to say it was a waste of money, but what I was doing was I was just doing voice drops into neighborhoods. People would call me back, and then I would go try to find a buyer, which was
right. Exactly.
I heard you talk. It was the opposite of what exactly. So I'm glad that I was able to get into that. Right. But, I forget where I was even going with this. Oh, just the amount of I wish somebody would have taught me that initially. And then I wouldn't have gone through all, well, I shouldn't say that. I think sometimes we go through what we have to go through anyway to get where we are, right?
You have to be grateful for that, because that ultimately brought you to me, right?
It did. And I'll be honest, my biggest challenge right now, Kent, and the reason I did not continue, and you may get this a lot, and if you do, I'd love you to give me some coaching on it. I have too many other things going on right now in my life to make the commitment to do this. You know what I mean? For me, it's
and I'll tell you exactly. Look, here's the thing. And I said this in the training, and so, but for the sake of your listeners, let's just talk about it for a second. Action determines priority. And what that means is that we have an amazing ability as human beings, in that we can talk ourselves into or justify any decision that we make. Just give us long enough, right? We will absolutely do this. And that is a way of it's a way of self-preservation, right? And so our subconscious is designed to do one thing for us, and that is basically keep us alive. don't die. That's it, right? And so our subconscious is constantly firing and telling us what we need to hear to avoid things that feel risky or feel like, and so there's clearly, where this happens to every one of us every single day. Like, I can't do this because of that. I can't go work out because of this. I can't go on a diet because of that. Or I can't. Constantly, we are fed this information from our subconscious based on our own experiences, based on what we know to be true, based on our own wisdom, and based on the wisdom of others. The way you have to position that is you have to understand, one, that that's going on, right? And that as an entrepreneur, that works against you. Because if your subconscious is constantly firing, trying to keep you right where you are, then that means there's no room for growth. You're never going to grow, because growth is a matter of risk. Growth is a matter of addressing, looking at it. Yeah, I understand the risk. I understand the time commitments. I understand this, and I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to push in anyway. How do you make that next decision is very clear. Your why and your reason have to be bigger than the obstacle, right? The opportunity has to be much bigger than the obstacle. And so a lot of people, I hear this all the time, baby, like you just said, like, I can't get to it. Well, listen, if I sat in front of you right now and said that, and we'll just use an example, not you necessarily, but if somebody came to this and said, in 2 years, your 10-year-old daughter or 10-year-old son is going to have a life-threatening disease, and you're going to need to have $500,000 in the bank to take advantage of it. And I'm going to show you how to go make that $500,000 between now and the next 2 years, so that when that thing happens, you're going to be perfectly positioned to take care of it. Now, what would you say?
Masters, I'm going to get you right back to the show. A couple opportunities for you. First, if you're like me or like any salesperson I've ever worked with, you deal with some form of call reluctance. There's really only 5 major types of call reluctance. They're all in my book, The Sales Playbook. What I want to do for you is I want to share with you a special gift opportunity. I'm going to give you the 5 types of call reluctance, and I'm going to give you the solution to get through each of them. I guarantee I've been doing it 35 years on the phones, and I still deal with call reluctance, but the awareness I have is what helps me keep moving forward. So I want you to go to davidihill.com/5 types. The number 5, davidihill.com/5 types, and get yourself a free download that's going to give you chapter 3. One more opportunity, Masters. If you are on the phones like me and you're calling expired sellers or for sale by owner sellers or sellers in general, then you want our expired training kit. And right now, this is a special opportunity. Right now, this is happening. If you're interested, you get this expired training kit by going to expired.schoolforrealtors.com. Again, expired.schoolforrealtors.com. Sign up for the kit, and you're going to get access to a 1-week live lead generation sessions with me. That's right. I'm logging on in the mornings and making calls. You're going to log in with me on Zoom on a small group. And listen, we're going to get feedback to each other. We're going to help each other. We're going to coach each other, support each other. I'm going to work directly with you. That's a special opportunity going on right now for people who go and sign up for expired.schoolforrealtors right now. Get signed up for that. Hey, I look forward to lead generating with you and helping you take your business to the next level. Hey, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Of course, the outcome changes, right? It's like, oh my God, I got to do this, right? If I know that's coming and I know that this is a way to get through it, I owe it. And so you have to constantly hack into your own brain and create these situations where the why has to be big enough. And I used a similar example on the training that you went through, is that when we go ahead.
Well, so what if the it's different? The why is different. Like, I get what you're saying. So let's say someone's already on that. They don't have to worry about having the $500,000. It's more like, okay, I want to build this passive income thing on the side that's generating this income because I know the potential's there. I could see it, and I know it works. It's just about time. Like, how does somebody? Is there a way to? I mean, in my thought process, people want to go into real estate. I train real estate agents to be successful with prospecting, with lead generation, which is very similar to what you do in your business. And I tell agents, hey, if you're going to do a part-time, don't even bother, because I have yet to see anybody be super successful at real estate that also keeps a part-time job on the side.
100%.
Is it the same or? Oh, you
It
said
is
100%.
You have to look, and there's no right or wrong decision here. It's just we're talking about a hypothetical situation. Here's the thing: you have to decide, what do you want out of your life? Period. And here's what I can tell you: after losing a business that was doing almost $2 billion a year, after being in a near fatal plane crash, and after having a mentor to me that was my mentor in my life hold my hand while he was dying, and knowing that 6 months earlier, $30 million had been deposited into his bank account. And as he held my hand, his comment to me is, "I just wish I had more time." That had a profound effect on me. That the one thing he wanted the most at that moment, his money couldn't buy. Period. None of it. Being on an airplane that I'm being told to brace for impact as we were making a crash landing while my young daughter and wife are behind me, knowing that I'm about to die. Now, clearly that didn't happen. You start to respect the element of time a hell of a lot more than most people do. And that's where I'm at in my life. And so my challenge to anybody that would listen to this is, what do you want? Decide what you want your life to look like. You could be on the perfect path, achieving everything you ever wanted. And if that's where you are, then no, don't go do something different. For sure, don't go do it, because you're getting everything out of life that you want. But most aren't, right? 99 out of 100 people that are watching this or listening to this are not on that path. I mean, I just know it to be true because I've been doing this for so long. And what they do is Dave, are you married?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So if your wife picks up the phone and calls you and says, "Hey, come down and I need you to go buy some groceries on the way home," you don't stop there, right? And you've heard me talk about this. You don't stop there. Basically, you say, "Tell me exactly what you want. And what are the 5, 6, 7, 10 items you want me to get?" And I'm going to get them.
Text me. Yeah.
Text me. Take pictures of it. Send it to me. I want to be right. I want to be right.
Yeah.
What I definitely do not do as a man is I don't go to the store and walk up and down 10 different aisles and grab a bunch of random crap and throw it into the basket and then check out and come to the house, dump it all on the kitchen counter. It's like, is any of this what you were looking for? But that is exactly what people do with their life all the time. Every day. They literally go and they'll jump on this podcast. They'll jump on another podcast. They'll get into becoming a real estate agent, then a real estate investor. Now I'm going to do short sales. Now I'm going to do some land deals. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And basically they're grabbing at everything, like they're walking up and down the aisles. And they look up in 2 or 3 years and they're like, "Well, this doesn't feel like success." And then you're kind of like, "Well, no shit. I got it. It's not success." And the reason why it's not is because you didn't understand what to put in the shopping cart, because you never decided what the successful outcome looks like. And so the first step in that whole process is you have to sit down and say, "Man, what do I actually want to spend my day doing? Who do I want to spend it with? What do I want to spend it doing? Whether it's traveling." And I can tell you what it's not doing. It's definitely not buying and selling real estate, right? Anybody that tells you that if their perfect day, what they want to spend every single day of their life doing, that they're working their asses off to do is because I just want to buy and sell more real estate, is completely full of crap. That is just not the way it works. What you want to spend your life doing is soaking up time, enjoying the moments, being around the people that enrich your life, giving to your community, giving to your church, all the amazing things that we are designed to do, by the way. So build a business that allows you to actually do that. Start with the end in mind, which I walked you through the process when you're in the training, right? It's like, I know before I ever go into a market, before I ever do anything, exactly what the outcome is going to be. I've talked to the buyers. I understand it. This is no different. Your life is the exact same way. I know what I want my life to look like, and I will work it backwards in the steps to get there. And so my advice to anybody, including yourself, is like, dude, if you've done that exercise and you have created a situation that is leading you towards the path of providing everything you want out of life, then whatever the hell you do, don't get off of it. I appreciate people saying no much more than I appreciate them saying yes, right? Because they're like, the way you said it is perfect. I'm designed, it isn't about time, it's about commitment to what you're already doing, which is a different way of saying that, right? I'm committed. I'm on the right path. This is something that fulfills me. This makes me happy. I'm providing value to the world. Brother, that's amazing. That's what I would want you to do. If you said yes to me in that situation, I wouldn't feel good about it.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to say no to your offer as well. And, at the same time, I want to stay true to the path that I'm on. and I, you know, I'm having you on my podcast now because I was impressed. And at some point, I want to be involved in what you're up to and do this at a high level like you're doing. And in my thought process, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the best way to do this would be to hire somebody, train them to do it,
there's not one thing that I took you through that you couldn't train somebody else to.
Yeah, that's and then
it's very
fund it.
It's extremely straightforward. It is simple. There's a lot of elegance and simplicity. And I love that. I love that about the business, and I love it about that it is a very clear path to creating income.
My biggest takeaway was the fact that you had us do all that. So when I was doing it before, I was just finding people that would say, yeah, I guess if I got an offer on my house, I'd sell it. You switched it around where I was going to people now where I already had somebody that was interested in their house. Right. It's
reverse wholesaling, right? And again, you know, I alluded to it a second ago. It's a very straightforward concept. You start with the end in mind. Why would I ever? I mean, I don't know if you ever watch any of those business shows like Restaurant Impossible or Bar Rescue or any of those shows, but every once in a while I'll watch one of those shows, or even Shark Tank. Yeah. Yeah, when you see the really successful people that clearly understand the demand, right? They've gone in. No, there is no guessing. We know that, you know, 50 million of these types of products were sold last year. We are selling 2 million a year. Our blue sky is 48 million units. I mean, they know it, right? And then you've got the other people that walk up there and like, you know, what do you know? Well, we sold a few units and we think it's cool. I mean, and that's the difference, right? If you want to be wildly successful in anything in life, you start with the end in mind. And certainly in business. And so inside of wholesaling, there is a massive millions of buyers that want to buy and pay all cash right now. And they want to move quick, and they want to close in 7 days. Just most people don't know they exist. And so they're sitting there, they're doing it right now. They, you know, with or without you. And so if you can come into that market and say, who are they? Let me get in touch with them. Let me find out exactly what they want, and then only go spend money on marketing and creating those types of opportunities that I could have the possibility of flipping to them. Dude, even if you're running in another real estate business and you don't flip it to them, you still got a smoking hot lead that you can go and put up as a listing or whatever else you want to do with it, right? It's still an amazing way to create leads because you understand fundamentally where all the action is.
What would you say the people that are excellent at this, what do they look like? What are some of the traits that's going to make somebody just really crush it in this arena?
I think it's the same with every single entrepreneur I've ever made that really crushes it. They have an undying commitment to being the very best version of themselves. They will not settle. And so it's an ongoing process. They soak up the information and they apply it effectively in real time, right? They're such fast action takers. They don't, they are, you know, I can think of so many different people that are inside of our boardroom where the difference between the people that are sitting on the outside looking in and the people that are on the inside crushing it is that it wasn't about education. It wasn't about knowledge, and it wasn't about training. It was about action, and it was about this intentional way of like, I know I'm better than this. I know I want to get out. Whatever's driving them, right? I know I want to get out of my situation. I know I want to show my kids that I can do this, whatever, right? I want to demonstrate. Those types of hardcore people that are really dialed in on why they're trying to do what they're trying to do, you give those people a little bit of information, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of inspiration, they just become rock stars only every single time. It just, I mean, I've said it over and over and over. Give me ignorance on ice, or give me ignorance on fire versus knowledge on ice. That's exactly what I mean by that, right? You don't have to be very smart to just be extremely successful in this business. Yeah. I've seen more overeducated broke people than I can even count. You know, it would take me all day to I could fill a room with them, right?
Yeah. Well, we just spoke for 25 minutes on mindset for the most part, right? People listening could use this. Doesn't matter what you do for business. This is going to help you move forward. What would you say though, when it comes to wholesaling now? Ken, what are the two biggest mistakes you see people making when they're going into
I see people going and putting properties under contract that they don't have a buyer for. That's the number one mistake, right? when it doesn't have to be that way. So they invest time, money, effort, energy, everything into creating something that without understanding the outcome. That's the single biggest mistake I see.
Which is what I was doing, right? Which is what I was taught to do.
And it gets extremely frustrating. It washes people out of the business. It gets extremely expensive and on all your resources. And so that's the number one mistake. The number two mistake is not understanding the value of their cash buyers, right? So they think by effectively putting a name and an email address and a phone number on a Google spreadsheet, they have a cash buyer now. And I think that you can appreciate now, after spending some time with me, that the cash buyer is the relationship, right? Is the relationship that will change your business forever. And so you nurture it. These are people that become your extended family. When you treat a cash buyer like the gift that keeps on giving, like, probably an analogy I could use is that if you owned a luxury car dealership and sold Rolls Royces for a living, and you had this one guy that every year he would just come in and buy a new one and trade in the other one every year like clockwork, and over and over and over, you would know that guy's name or girl's name, and you would treat them very, very well, because they were putting a lot of money into your pocket year after year after year after year. And to treat a cash buyer anything short of that is foolish and reckless, because that's what they have the ability to do. I mean, it is a relationship. It is not a transaction.
Yeah, that was my biggest shift mentally, was instead of focusing on the sellers, the buyers, the cash buyers were my client. And that's who I was. Yeah, I love that. So what do you want? Well, first off, how do people get in touch with you, Ken?
I'm easy to find. So on social media, on Instagram, it's Kent Clothier, Clothier. Same thing on Facebook. Make sure you look for the blue check marks, because there are some accounts out there we are constantly battling, trying to get other dummy accounts taken down. But make sure you look for that, or just go to KentClothier.com, right? And or if you want to go straight to our corporate site, just go to REWW.com. Those are the 4 places you can find me.
I love your shirt, man. What's it? FCK average, be legendary. Why are you wearing that shirt, man?
This is the way I believe, baby. It's a way of life. I have no interest in being mediocre or average in anything.
Yeah, I get that, man. So what's the final thing you want people to take from this? If somebody just logged on and they just started listening, what do you want them to walk away with? Or everybody that's been listening?
Yeah, I mean, look, the biggest thing I'd want you to walk away with is decide what you want out of life and get to work. I mean, the time is not on your side. And whether you can get, we are conned into believing, and we con ourselves, like I was telling you earlier, into believing that we'll get to it tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, right? And I think it's probably the most dangerous and reckless way to think. That is extremely, extremely foolish. You got one shot at this thing. You can make anything. I mean, I'm a redneck from Memphis, Tennessee, right? Who barely graduated from high school. I live an amazing life, not because I'm really, really smart, but because I'm very, very intentional with my time, right? I get a lot out of every single moment that I've got, which means anybody can do it.
Well, I just want to say, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving us some of your time, and thank you, sir.
You got it, brother. Peace. Thanks for having me.
You got it, man. Thank you. Hey, Masters, 45 seconds. That's all I ask. I appreciate you listening to the show. I don't know if I say that enough, but I know you can invest your time wherever you choose. So thank you for spending it here with us. Remember, if you want any information on me or my events coming up, just go to my website, which is davidihill.com. Again, davidihill.com. Click on the events tab. You've got webinars, you've got past webinar replays. Everything is there. You can also get access to our sponsors there if you click on the affiliates link. So again, everything is at davidihill.com. And we'd love to have you join us on our Facebook community, which just go to Facebook and search groups, which is Path to Mastery. And finally, as you know, you can get yourself a free book by going to davidsfreebook.com. My friends, again, I just want to say I appreciate you spending time with us. Oh my gosh, I forgot to review. If you would, it helps so much if you'd be willing to go give me a review, and then email a review to me at david@davidihill.com. Email it to me. I'll read it on air for you. And I just want to say I appreciate you again for listening to the show. You rock. Enjoy the rest of your day.